Okay, looks like we are up. Welcome back, everybody. Nice to see y'all. I know a lot of you've been talking about Kelvin Benjamin, and I didn't get a chance. He hadn't signed when I recorded the game plan video this week, so didn't really get a chance to do anything about him. Yeah, at that time it was all speculation, so really just didn't want to venture too much of a guess. I'm a little surprised that it came off and he signed, actually, to tell you the truth. So, yes, it's short term. There's a whole lot of comments. I just opened that up. Sorry if I missed a bunch of conversation. To recap, it looks like some of you are talking about him signing. Oh, hey, Charlie, how are you? I don't think I've seen you in one of the lives before, so welcome back. Yeah, he signed just through the end of the season. So just these 4 regular season games and whatever happens in the playoffs. I didn't see the details yet, but he's a free agent next year. Just like he was scheduled to be in the first place. So don't think that you're signed on to it. It's going to be an experiment. If they can get him going, maybe they look at bringing him back. Maybe they don't. We don't know at this point. In fact, I just finished and just posted within the last 5 minutes. If you guys want to check out, I did a special episode of the Locked On Chiefs podcast. For those of you who don't know the podcast already, it's you can find it on iTunes and all that stuff. And I talked to Joe Marino, who is a scout with the Draft Network, who scouted him in college and is a big Buffalo guy, big Bills fan. So he watches him constantly and has seen the progression or what you'll hear is the lack of progression. So I'm starting to see some questions. Good job. Thanks for the question mark ahead. It really helps me out. Let's see here. I will be at the Raiders game on December 30th. So if anybody has recommendations for a tailgate or whatever, bring in the wife and my brother and sister-in-law, a whole 9 things. So 9 yards anyway. So yeah, look forward to that just for New Year's. Hope to see some of you guys out there. I'll try to find a tailgate or somebody. Anyway, I'll be walking around with beers. Okay, so thank you, Charlie. I just read that one too. I appreciate that. I think my brother's already bought some, but hey, next year too. Kojak, thanks. Appreciate that. I'm trying to do what you guys like and what you need. And still trying to bring out my analysis. So thanks for bearing with me, and I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. So, dude, don't worry about it. Just kind of got started that he signed. Thank you, TW. I appreciate that. We'll talk about the game here in a little bit. Let's focus on Benjamin because, like I said, I just finished recording this podcast with the guy that knows him well from before he was in the NFL, as well as what he's done recently in Buffalo. And I sat down last night. Again, I recorded the game plan video before the signing, so that's why there was nothing in there about him. I saw some folks in the comments looking for that. So, long story short, I'm a little surprised it happened. He has been a guy that has been lackadaisical, is a way to put it. A lot of, hey, Keith, how are you? Good to see you. He's been a guy that has been a bunch of different things, a lot of complaints from Bills fans, Bills and analysts. I've talked to several of them, and I sat down and I watched 4 games of film, 3.5 games of film last night on him from the Bills in the recent season. He missed, I want to say it was week 12. So he missed 11. So I watched 13, 12, and 10, and a little bit before that. And a couple of things stand out to me, and I'll just hit you with them now before we get into all the questions. The guy doesn't want to block. I don't care if it's a pitch. I don't care if it's a wide receiver screen to another guy. They do run some stacks in that offense. So there's sometimes when he's doubled out there with him and another wide receiver, doesn't block for him very well. He basically puts his hands up in the way and tries to get in the way. There's zero blocking out of that guy. A couple of weeks with Chris Conley is probably going to change that, I'm going to tell you. I think it has to be a point of emphasis because in this particular offense, there's so many screens and so many things that are working on horizontal attacks that you have to have guys on the edge that can block. And if he's going to be in there for anything outside of the red zone, he's got to be able to block. So, Denny, glad you're here. Bramble, nice to see you too. So, hey, Kenny, thank you. You have a good Christmas and a good New Year too. I will be in Kansas City around then. I'll be streaming from my brother's place. He's a photographer in Kansas City, and he's got a little studio up there. So I'm trying to figure out the gear, but I'll do some of these lives, and I'll definitely have a video or two that week. So Yeah, the blocking thing's a pain. I will say I saw 3 in just the Dolphins game, the last game that he played in for them. I saw 3 routes that he just kind of quit on. He is not very instinctual about how to move when Josh Allen, the quarterback, breaks the pocket. Allen likes to run too. He's not Mahomes, but he can get outside the pocket. He can make things happen. So I think one of the things that the Chiefs are going to have to get him to do is be more aware of what to do when the play breaks down and Mahomes is scrambling. That's going to be key. Hey, Sammer, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, folks. Give him a hand, little donation for the channel. I appreciate it very much. If you have a question, make sure you put that in there too. Make sure I answer it, and I will guarantee that I will. Sorry, the lag is probably not anything I can do about it. So, hey, Matt, I'm glad you made it for the beginning of one too. So that said, I think what they need to do with him is get kind of back to where he was in college, which was he's not an explosive athlete. In fact, I put a post up on LockedOnChiefs.com that has my original draft science article from like 2014 that talks about him and the fact that he doesn't have that explosive acceleration, but that he's a big body, that he has the arm span, and that's what he can do. Denny, that's I don't know the staffs, but there's 2 staffs that tried to work with him and it didn't work out. So you tell me what the common denominator is. Can Greg Lewis get more out of him? Can Andy Reid get more out of him? I'm fairly confident in saying that. So we'll see what happens with him here. So I want to see them try to use him in the red zone. I think that's his thing, because like the scouting report said, he's not terribly explosive, but he's got that body and he's 6'5". And for those people that were worried about what kind of shape he's in, he has slowed down. He's had 2 knee injuries, one a complete ACL, and another which I was unaware of that wasn't a complete, didn't need a total repair, but it did require some minor surgery. And so there's more to that than just a lack of effort or him gaining weight. He actually came into the Chiefs camp yesterday at 239. So that's 6 pounds lighter than he was drafted at. So I think overall, I think he did gain some weight, but I think he's lost a bunch of it off too as well. So I think that's a big plus. Whether he can get the offense or not is really complex. It's hard to do, but he is an athlete. Maybe he's a little bit slower. I think honestly, he probably compares well to a tight end in terms of acceleration and explosion. Not as good as Kelsey. I'll have to run the numbers, the athletic matrix. I'm in the middle of redoing the whole thing for this coming draft season. So, yeah, Aaron, just kind of last minute because everybody was asking for me to do something on Kelvin Benjamin. So that said, what he can do is he can still use his body. He can still use his wingspan. He can't jump as well as he used to, I don't think. But he's still got that height advantage, that body advantage. I think they can find ways to do that. Terry Spurman, I like that. Yeah, it's tough to press a guy that size. They gotta get in his head a little bit. He's got to get more effort. He's got to get into the flow, working for his quarterback. And maybe that's the whole thing with Cam, and obviously not a big fan of Josh Allen there in Buffalo. I can't tell you whether he's got a serious attitude problem or it was just some conflict with those quarterbacks, or just disappointment in the fact that he hasn't turned out to be the prospect that a lot of people thought he would be. So you never know how that's going to go. And Samir or Samir, I can't remember how to pronounce your name. If you have a question, make sure you hit that with a couple of question marks. I appreciate the donation. I will answer your question. So I just don't know if he's been coached well enough to be able to deal with that kind of ad lib type instinctualness, but they got to try to get something out of him. So we will see what comes from it. But that said, Pat Mahomes changes the equation for a big-bodied receiver like that. You can do a little bit of backyard football, draw a route in the sand. I mean, the route tree gets compressed when you get in the red zone anyway. In college, in fact, and part of my write-up on my scouting report in college is just that he runs long patterns fairly well. He takes time to accelerate, but he can run the post and the corner and the go. I think he can run drags and be successful at this level. I want to see him in the back of the end zone crossing it. Um, Depending on the leaping ability, you can aim at the crossbar and let him go get it and see if that will work. There are a number of things. Embrace, thanks. I'm sorry about the lag. Not much I can do about it. Right in the middle now. Maybe it's just a bad day on my internet. I do live kind of out in the sticks, so you never quite know. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know about the blocking, if that's, that's just an effort thing. So I don't know if you're going to get that cured. But he's a guy that can supplement. And the Sammy Watkins injury looks like it's going to be for the rest of the regular season. Hopefully that, and it's not the foot that he had injured year earlier. It is the current foot, but that current foot has been re-injured. So you want to let him rest that out. I don't expect to see him in the regular season. And if that's what it is, it's okay to have another body in there. I personally am pretty excited to see what Dieter can do. He did get loose on that one that he's been complaining at Mahomes about all week. And by the way, I think that's a pretty funny relationship they seem to have, both in the media and out. So I want to see him get a few more reps. But, and I tweeted it on Friday that, you have the possibility of having like 5 guys that you could line up in a spread formation that are over 6'3", and Chris Conley to be the small one. So that's an interesting scenario too. And whether that's just, literally a curl in the end zone, that's something Benjamin can probably still do. So I think there's a role to be played. I don't expect to see him this week. I don't even know if he'll be active. We'll see tomorrow. But beyond that, even pushing for San Diego for the Chargers game is tough. They might be able to get a little package for him to get in there. I don't know. The thing is, he never played special teams in Buffalo, and if he did in Carolina, he was really poor at it because they didn't do it very much with him. So, that's where it stands. Let me get some of your questions here. Good hands. He did in college. He looks a little alligator army to me from the 3.5-ish games that I watched last night. We'll see what happens. Again, that's effort. If he's motivated to play with Mahomes and for Andy Reid and with Tyreek Hill, maybe that all changes. I mean, you never know what a change of scenery can do for a guy's attitude. So we'll have to just see. Do you think they'll re-sign him? If he has some production, possibly. He's definitely not going to get a major contract, I don't think, from anybody. So the problem is the better he plays for the Chiefs, the more people will be interested in him come off season. So I'm just going to treat it as a temporary rental for the rest of this season and see what happens. Yeah, TW and TW Jordan says he has no heart for the game is what I see when he plays. And you're right. And that's what a lot of people see. And I've talked to people that cover the team. The Bills, not the Panthers. I'm not really in touch with anybody that covers the Panthers, but everybody said the same thing, that the effort, the intensity is just not there. What else you got here? Yeah, they could resign him. Shrimp Coat. Thank you. Ravens 10, Kansas City 40. I like the way you think. Folks, Shrimp Coat's a big contributor to the channel, and I appreciate it once again, my friend. And I like your score. I am a little bit more worried than that. I had it fairly tight, a touchdown spread when I did the prediction on the show yesterday. And that prediction and all of our predictions will be up on Chiefs Digest tomorrow. Aaron Morrow, I don't know how much he's practicing. I know he was just getting into it. In fact, I think he said in his short presser that, it was his first day there. He doesn't have a whole much. We'll see what he can do come next week. It's a short week. Practice reps are going to be kind of hard to pass around. We'll see. But I know Andy Reid thinks that he has potential or he wouldn't be here. And I know that Brett Veach scouted him when he was, scouting the Southeast at the time that he came out. And I know he knows what that top echelon of potential is. And we'll see if they can do anything here relatively quick. I think really that first week off, should the Chiefs maintain a bye in the first round, is when they're going to be able to put something in that maybe he can really contribute to. Otherwise, it's just going to be pick and see what he can pick up. Yeah, Skynet. I know I'm lagging. Sorry, it's the best I can do today. Um, and Trevor Wilder, you're right. Irving and Ragland are the precursors for this. This is another reclamation project that Brett Veach likes to pull off from what the potential was that he saw when he originally scouted him. So we'll see what comes of it. Um, Derek Williams. I'm not sure who you're talking about. Daryl Williams is the third back, and he's a guy that I really like from LSU. Damian Williams is the number 2 back. He's the scat guy. Played last week, number 26. I like them both. I think they're going to round out the running back trio. And you always have Sharkandrick. It'll take him a little while to get back into speed, but I think he'll be fine too. Yeah, you're right, Chris Danning. It does add another dynamic, another big body. If you're worried about that big body, if you're a team like the Patriots that you have Gilmore who's sizable, but a couple other the McCourties are small guys, and you're worried about Kelsey and doubling him. Well, that's another big body that you have to worry about now. So there is some matchup thing there that Benjamin can help with. We just have to see how he gets acclimated to the team. Keith says it's 23-20 KC. I like that. You could be very right. For me, it's about how much ball control the Ravens can exert and how they can keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. That's really what it comes down to. So I don't know. I still have it 35-28. Ian, you're pretty close to where I'm at, so I like that. Any word on Barry's return? No, nothing yet. I have heard that they went, would they designate him doubtful, which is a little bit step up from questionable, but all of it's kind of a cat and mouse game. But I heard that they're considering it from a couple of people who talked to folks inside the organization. So what that means, I have no idea. When those inactives come out tomorrow, we're going to know. He may dress and not play too. So you got to remember, like they may just have to feel it out and see how they feel and how he feels at the time. Who else has questions? Looking around, clean up the penalties. Terry Sperman, you're definitely right. They do have to play a cleaner game tomorrow, especially because it's going to be a physical game. The Ravens want to run, and that's going to hurt them. And I see a lot of Ravens fans jumping into the game plan video in the comments talking about how, they can pass too. Well, prove it. I think they want to be a smash mouth team. They want to beat you up. I'm very aware of how that works and what the pluses are. So you're going to have to show me that, and you're going to have to show me that Jackson can dissect what I think is probably going to be a little bit of zone early and then going to man-to-man when they want to stack that box. So we'll see what they come through. But letting Jenkins go, I thought was a twist that I didn't see coming. So that kind of limits how much you can rotate those D linemen in. That may play a factor as well. Spencer came in as fullback, right? Yeah, technically, although in college he ran as both. Spencer can do a bit of both, and I do like especially a split backfield with Daryl Williams and Spencer. I think that'd be really great to see because you have to protect against the big run, but you have to protect against the pass as well. I think that's something they should really be exploring. Tim Conway, why is Eric Murray still starting? Because he knows the defense. You don't see he has breakdowns on a physical level. You don't see him breaking down in terms of missing his assignment. Like Ron Parker is missing assignments. Lucas missed assignments, and he got beat up in the run game when he tried to make tackles. So I think that's the thing with Lucas. Lucas doesn't know the defense as well, and he's a little bit more small, at least in his play. So I think Bob's taking it with that. So Skynet, I agree with you. Stop the run first. Take their will away. That's what Gunther used to say. I don't think. There you go, Sammer. I appreciate it. I don't think Robinson and Conley have anything to worry about. I think, honestly, it takes a little pressure off of them because it gives a whole different aspect to what they can do with Benjamin. I don't think Conley's going to re-sign in the offseason. I think somebody's going to give him a contract. He's shown enough, especially now, and sneakily, that Conley's got the second highest touchdown total of the wide receivers at this point. He has more touchdowns this season than Sammy Watkins does. I think somebody's going to give him a contract on that, better than what the Chiefs are going to be able to offer. Thomas Fox, yes. The man. I got to get me my Waylon Jennings shirt kind of fell apart on me. I got to get one of those too. But who does Barry replace? That's a very good question. I will be very keen to see exactly how they do that because they can do anything with Eric. He could play any safety position. If you're worried about him physically, you could play him at the back and kind of take it a little bit easy on all the cuts and everything. It's just a little straighter acceleration. If you're playing free safety, maybe they do that. Denny, I hope you're right that Conley stays. Yeah, Matt Mitchell, I have noticed that. Go check out the film room this week, and I went into some depth about the inside linebackers in particular and why they're hesitant and where they get to be hesitant. What else? Marshall, it's a good point. If you miss tackles, it's a negative, even if you're doing everything else right. Don't disparage Lucas. Okay, Keith, I got you. Lucas is your dude. I'm with you. Snoop Menace. Marshall, good pickup. I think the Ravens are open to exploited by the screen. Yeah, they're fairly aggressive, especially on Sizzle's side, because Suggs is going to be coming. So I think there is opportunity there. You're right, Mason. I think the Ravens are going to struggle to keep up with the Chiefs in the pass game. Jimmy Smith has not played as many snaps. So in his rankings, he doesn't look quite as solid as Brandon Carr. But if Brandon Carr is your best cover, good luck trying to keep up with Tyreek. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, Dylan, you're right. A lot of potential for Chris Conley. The injury slowed him, and his acceleration isn't quite what it used to be. I think that's still part of the Achilles. A year removed, he should be even better. So I do think somebody's going to give him a chance. Is Bob's scheme outdated? Wow, Skylar, thanks for the contribution. I appreciate that. Tip to you. Cheers. Today it's Saison homebrew, but here's Skylar. Thank you again for the contribution. He gets highlighted. You guys can see it in there. To me, our defense doesn't look the same without Sammy. I'm sorry, our offense doesn't look the same without Sammy. Valid concern if he can't go forward, or does it not worry you at all? It definitely does change the dynamic. I agree with you. I see that on the field as well. Is it a total concern? I don't think so. Because I think people, at least team scouting, have a tendency to sleep on Conley, and he's slowly creeping up and being able to contribute more. I do feel like Robinson is going to get more opportunities, and I really want to see what Dieter can do, because I think he's got some sneaky acceleration that teams, he doesn't have anything on film, so teams don't have a lot to go off of. I think he may be able to play a significant role in a couple of plays, kind of like Dat. When Dat just kind of explodes for a touchdown after, playing 4 downs or whatever, you can come in and make really high quality reps, even if you don't have a lot of reps. So I'm looking for that out of Dieter. But again, I appreciate you guys and your contributions. Skylar, thank you very much. Do a couple more questions here, folks, and then I will let you all have your Saturday night back, because I got to go start the smoker. Marshall, thank you. Appreciate it. Callaway, do you believe the Chiefs will still pursue Earl Thomas next season? That's a very, very good question. They have a lot of money tied up in safety right now. But Parker's going to be free agent. I believe Murray's a free agent too. I'll have to look at that. It's all about whether he heals or not. They're very interested in trading for him. So that tells you just how much they were willing to give up for Earl Thomas. If Earl is interested in being a Chief and playing with Barry, I think that might be the turning point. And yes, I think they could go get him if they want in terms of the salary. It's a lot, but they can make it work. It's kind of a different scenario, because the team has to be interested in giving you Earl Thomas this last season. In the offseason, it's all up to Earl. And if Earl wants to be a Chief, he can come be a Chief. I know he has some ties to Texas. He played at Texas. I know a lot of folks thought he might be heading for the Cowboys. He may want to when it comes down to it. So we'll just have to see what he thinks. But that said, before I move on, there's more questions. But that said, I think he can recover from that injury. Will he be 100%? No, I think he's lost another 5% of his total athleticism, but that's still better than 90% of the safeties in this league. No, the Chiefs do not get any compensation for cutting Hunt. Done deal. Lost on that one. Sperman, have fun playing Red Dead. I think Benjamin can be a second tight end. I do. That's what I originally thought they might be looking to do with him when I thought Sammy was going to be okay. I would not mind seeing them line him up as kind of that short split out H kind of thing. Let him do some of the motion that Kelsey's doing. I don't know if he's as good with the ball in his hands, so that's different. Keith, I'm starting the smoker. I have one of those eggs, so it's a grill too. I'm doing some portobellos and a lamb shank tonight. So yeah, it should be good. The sun's still out by me, so I'm doing all right. Oh, Nate Hill, good idea. A rogue watch party with smoked meats and homebrew. I might have to get with Bearcat on that, see if he can do the smoked meats. I'm not ready to display that for anyone. I make solid beer. I don't know that I'm a good enough smoker yet. My brother is pretty good though, so maybe we'll see something. Would it be better to upgrade at linebacker and stop the run than safety? Robert Lyons, good question. I really believe that the heart of a defense comes from the second level, from the linebackers, especially when it comes to versatility. That said, Bob doesn't, and I don't think Andy does. And as the NFL gets slanted more and more towards the passing game, I can see that argument that the safety may become more important eventually. But we've seen, and Bucky Brooks just put out today or yesterday, that when you look at some of the data over the course of this last 4 weeks, I think it is, you see teams running the ball more as a reaction to teams playing nickel defense and playing dime defense. The answer is to run at those defenses, as we've seen all season long. So eventually, I think you're going to see the pendulum swing back a little bit, and at that point, the linebacker is still going to be important. And I still believe that an athletic linebacker, whether it's somebody like Derek Johnson or if it's somebody like Luke Kuechly, who's a little bit more stout, I'm going to take on a little bit more. I think those are the keys and the heart of a defense, regardless. So we'll see. The Hitchens contract so far, I don't think he's lived up to it. I don't know if it's cuttable or if you're going to let him grow into the defense more. That's going to be on Veach. I don't know that Bob's going to have a whole lot of influence there, because at that size of a contract, I think Veach's determination is what's it's going to come down to. I am a Coloradoan at this point, hey, thanks, Denny. The defense will be a challenge in postseason. There's no way around it. Can they match up? Yes, they can. They've got to improve in a couple of places, but if teams are going to run at them like the Titans did and like this Ravens team are going to, I think they're going to be okay. At the end of the day, the offense is so much improved over last season. It is what it is. But anyway, that looks like I'm out of questions, and I know I'm lagging, so I'm going to say thank you guys for your time, and I hope I answered what you wanted to know about Kelvin. Thank you for the contributions, all of you, and I'm sorry this is laggy. Hopefully tomorrow night it will be better. I'm thinking I'll put it up in the morning when the stream's going to be tomorrow post game. It's probably going to be right about 3:30 Arrowhead time. That's the goal, to keep it nice and tight. So look for that. I'll have that up probably pre-game. So a couple of questions came in real quick. I'll just quick fire them. Should the Chiefs bring back Armani Watts? Yes, if he's farther along than LDT, bring him back. Sorry about the lag, Sean. No, I don't see Benjamin taking any snaps away from Conley. He would be a supplement, not a replacement. Tuber Eric. I don't think Eric Bieniemy is going to get a head coaching job off of one season. So, Tube, maybe. Tobe, shoot, I always do that wrong. So, anyway, thank you all for your time. I hope you got the questions answered. If not, hit me tomorrow, and I'll talk to you all then. Have a good one.